You don't remember the exact day, but you remember the weight, the heat in your face when you were humiliated in front of the class, the moment a joke landed on everyone else but you, the silence in the group when your opinion died before it was born, the invitation that never came, the attempt you made, and the laughter that followed. These moments don't disappear. They don't fade, they sink. You might forget names, you might forget places, but the feeling stays, quiet, patient, waiting. And no, this isn't emotional fragility. It isn't weakness. It isn't overthinking. It's structure. Alfred Adler was brutally clear about this. The feeling of inferiority is the driving force behind all human striving. Not a symptom, not a disorder. The beginning of everything. Who you try to become. What you obsessively prove. What you hide. What you exaggerate. What you never forgive in yourself. All of it grows from the same root. The child who was told, directly or indirectly, "You're not enough," and grows up trying to disprove a verdict that was never officially pronounced. The adult who collapses under criticism because every comment feels like confirmation. The young person who performs confidence online while despising their own reflection in silence. This is not coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is the invisible engine of your life. You think your decisions are rational, but if you dig deep enough, you'll find an old voice whispering, "You are not good enough." And everything you built, your personality, your ambition, your discipline, your image, your exhaustion, was built against that voice. From here on, there is no anesthesia. We will expose how inferiority is not just something you feel, but the mechanism that moves you. And why? Until you face it without illusion. You will keep winning battles that don't matter while losing the war against yourself. And if you think this has nothing to do with you, that's the first sign it does. The first trauma isn't abandonment, it's comparison. The second isn't failure. It's being taught that failure defines you. The third, and most permanent, is growing up believing that being yourself is insufficient. Childhood is not the nostalgic sanctuary sold in movies. It is a silent battlefield. A place where the child learns, far too early, that there is a world where value is measured and that they are usually losing. Adler understood this with unsettling clarity. While Freud searched for sexual trauma and Jung explored symbolic myths, Adler looked at what was obvious and ignored. Every child, upon recognizing their smallness in the world, develops a feeling of inferiority. This feeling is inevitable and necessary. Not a flaw, a foundation. Inferiority is the first psychological truth of existence, and this has nothing to do with self-esteem slogans. It is biological, existential, unavoidable. A child cannot survive alone. They depend on adults to eat, to move, to speak, to live. They are born at a disadvantage. And even before language, the nervous system understands this. Adler was precise. The feeling of inferiority is not a sign of weakness. It is the stimulus for growth. This is where most people get lost. They confuse growth with victory. They confuse development with domination. But growth is not about winning. It's about integration. Understanding limits without being crushed by them. The problem is that society doesn't teach integration. It teaches shame. Mistakes are punished. Loss is ridiculed. Not being the best means being invisible. And this is where a natural feeling turns into an open wound. The child who is hit for getting it wrong. The teenager ignored for lacking status. The adult who spends life proving value everywhere and never feels it anywhere. The tragedy is not feeling inferior. The tragedy is what happens when the world convinces you that feeling inferior is unacceptable. Developmental psychology confirms this relentlessly. Between ages 6 and 12, the child enters the stage of competence versus inferiority. If their efforts are mocked, dismissed, or compared, they internalize a belief that poisons everything. No matter how hard I try, I will never be enough. And that belief leaks into adulthood. The woman who freezes before speaking. The man who never tries because, what's the point? The professional who sabotages themselves right before success. Not because they want to fail, but because they were trained to doubt their right to succeed. Adler never pathologized inferiority. For him, it was the starting point of all human achievement. But only if it is recognized, accepted, and consciously directed. Shame begins when inferiority is denied. Arrogance begins when it's covered up. Suffering begins when it's ignored. This wound is not secondary. It is the base of who you are right now. And until you face its origin, you will keep building walls that look like strength, but are made of fear. The worst trap isn't feeling weak. It's believing you must look strong at all times. This is the moment a human stops being themselves and starts performing. To escape inferiority, many build its opposite, a persona of superiority. But this isn't real power. It's camouflage. Behind confidence, panic. Behind arrogance, terror of rejection. Behind an inflated ego, a mutilated one. Adler was ruthless about this. Apparent superiority is a fiction created by those who secretly feel inferior. And fiction is expensive. It demands constant performance, relentless self-monitoring, the exhausting act of pretending to be complete while collapsing inside. The child called stupid becomes the adult who must be the smartest in the room, not out of wisdom, out of desperation. The rejected teenager becomes obsessed with appearance, not vanity, survival. This is what Adler called overcompensation. Every exaggerated compensation reveals an inferiority that was hidden, not healed. Modern society rewards these masks. It confuses noise with leadership, aggression with confidence, visibility with value. Look at how often powerful figures collapse into addiction, scandals, or burnout. They weren't strong. They were trapped inside an image they couldn't escape. And this isn't limited to fame. It's in the meeting where someone interrupts to feel real. In the relationship where one must always be right. In the social profile full of motivation quotes and empty of identity. Compensation doesn't heal. It postpones the breakdown. And the longer vulnerability is avoided, the more the soul rots beneath success. Adler didn't judge this behavior. He understood it. But he warned where it leads. The pursuit of superiority is only healthy when directed toward contribution. Otherwise, it is self-deception. Real strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't convince. It doesn't dominate. It exists. The superiority complex is always a response to unprocessed pain. Excessive control hides fear of abandonment. Excessive confidence hides terror of failure. Excessive performance hides a craving to be loved as one is. Here is the raw truth. Anyone who must look superior is enslaved by what they never faced. And slavery to an unresolved inferiority is distance from one's own humanity. True strength isn't about standing above others. It's about standing within yourself without collapsing. The system doesn't want you to know yourself. It wants you to compare yourself. Because self-knowledge creates sufficiency. Comparison creates lack. And lack is profitable. Insecure people consume more, compete more, submit more. Modern culture didn't invent comparison. It industrialized it. You no longer compare yourself to neighbors. You compare yourself to millions filtered, edited, monetized, unreal. And the problem isn't awareness of others. It's being taught that value only exists in being more than them. Adler warned about this long before screens. The problem is not inferiority. The problem is wanting to be superior to others. This is the collective pathology of our era. A society that preaches self-love while engineering self-hatred. Likes, metrics, followers, achievements become substitutes for worth. not internal worth, performative worth. Comparison creates emotional surveillance. You stop asking, "Is this meaningful?" and start asking, "How will this look?" You don't want to improve. You want to outshine. And the cost is devastating. Anxiety skyrockets. Depression aligns more with perceived status than real suffering. Life didn't become worse. The measuring system did. People live chasing standards they didn't choose. The ideal body, the ideal life, the ideal success, all unreachable, all exhausting. Adler was direct. As long as personal value depends on surpassing others, humanity will remain sick. This isn't metaphor, it's diagnosis. Comparison doesn't inspire, it paralyzes. You don't learn from others. You measure yourself against them, and every measurement cuts, because you never see the whole person, only their surface, and you compare their surface to your depth. The result? People with everything feeling guilty for not having enough. Talented individuals sabotaging themselves for not fitting the mold. Relationships poisoned by resentment born online. This is not accidental. It is structural. Adler proposed something dangerous to such a system. Cooperation over rivalry. Contribution over hierarchy. He called it community feeling. And he was clear. Community feeling is the only true cure for pathological inferiority. But community requires awareness. And awareness threatens control. Those who compare submit. Those who know themselves become free. The ego screams, purpose whispers, and most people spend their lives obeying the scream. The tragedy is complete. First, inferiority was labeled a flaw, then superiority was sold as the solution. Now everyone is exhausted. The ego won, and the soul lost. Adler saw this long before modern self-help. Every neurosis is born from a life centered exclusively on the self. That sentence dismantles the mirror-based culture of self-esteem. Real worth doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from direction. Purpose is not abstraction. It is the antidote to egoic fear. Those who live to prove something are always tired. Because the ego is a merciless master. It demands perfection. It punishes limits. It never rests. Purpose is different. It allows imperfection. It tolerates failure. It asks only movement. Adler's idea of community feeling was radical. Mental health emerges when one feels useful, connected, responsible beyond the self. Purpose dissolves inferiority not by denying it, but by relocating attention. The ego asks, "Am I winning?" Purpose asks, "Am I serving what matters?" This shift is everything. Those who transform real suffering into meaning didn't do so because they were strong. They did it because they found something larger than their pain. No slogan teaches this. No influencer sells it. It is a quiet decision, an internal rupture. You don't need more self-esteem. You need more courage to face who you are. Most human suffering doesn't come from feeling pain. It comes from running from it. Everyone feels fear. Everyone compares. Everyone fails. But few have the honesty to say, "I feel inferior." And denial makes everything worse. Because inferiority isn't here to be destroyed. It's here to guide. Adler's most uncomfortable truth is this: we do not overcome inferiority by eliminating it, but by transforming it into direction. The problem was never feeling small. The problem was trying to be huge without understanding why you felt invisible. Adler didn't promise comfort. He offered clarity. Inferiority is not an ego defect. It's an ethical call, a signal that something in you seeks integration. When you flee inferiority, you flee yourself. When you perform strength endlessly, you destroy the chance to build real strength. The way forward is not numbing discomfort. It's listening to it. Where do you feel inferior? Your body, your intelligence, your social worth? That's not random. That's your map. But the map doesn't point outward. It points toward humility. Your value isn't in never feeling small. It's in continuing despite feeling small. A human being is not defined by perfection, but by the courage to act with awareness of limitation. This is the opposite of performance culture. No promises of constant victory, only an invitation. Live with the pain without pretending it isn't there. Integrate weakness as part of wholeness, not as an excuse to stop, but as the ground to walk honestly. Here, inferiority stops being a prison and becomes a compass. Only those who face vulnerability develop real compassion. Only those who look into the void find meaning beyond illusion. The final question was never, how do I stop feeling inferior? The real question is, what will you build with it? If this video touched something uncomfortable inside you, that wasn't coincidence. It means you're paying attention, and that already matters more than you think. Just watching, staying until the end, sharing this with someone who needs it, that already helps a lot. Truly. But if you feel this space gives you clarity, language for things you never knew how to name, becoming a channel member is a way to belong more deeply and keep this work alive. Members get closer access, deeper content, and help shape what comes next. And if you want to support without commitment, Super Thanks is a quiet way of saying, this meant something to me. No pressure, no obligation, just an invitation to support what helped you feel less alone.